you can use just the fundamentals of what I'm saying, and the second you draw yourself to any formation that looks like a mountain, i.e. a pyramid, it will start to oscillate your lower, like celestial source energy within your sacrum, your lower Tai Chi pole, the lower Dantian area, because now it's been realized, it's been activated. Just by hearing this, you have just exposed yourself to another high level of consciousness. Welcome to the Consciousness of the Way. Come on in, you beautiful beings. And my divine, delectable co-host, High Priestess Jade.
Hello.
And I'm your humble servant and Sifu Taoist Master Son Quinn. Bada bing, bada bang. Here we are.
Mm-hmm.
Another incredible day in paradise. A simulation, or is it? Who knows? Only you know. Is it real or isn't it real?
The video game of life.
Yeah, it really is the video game of life. So, we had an incredible podcast had a transmission, an incredible, powerful channeling of Lao Tzu. We'll be doing another one of those today, answering questions, people's inquiries. His incredible divine immortal source information is second to none and gives you no doubt, but, instant realization of all questions answered. And just very powerful. And the last podcast that we did, which was all about fear. The limitations of it, what it does to you, what is the chemical reaction that comes from it, and how you can change the course of your reality just by how you think. Never heard this before here. My goodness, understanding those inner secrets, it draws us back to the inner workings. We'll speak more on this today. The integration of the Jade Emperor and the Jade Emperor's realization of the formation of these geometric symbols or shapes, as we talked about before, the pyramids in China. These symbols and shapes are formed throughout the world, and the Jade Emperor was very clear on the inner workings of what that means, and what that means from a portal standpoint, because we're literally talking about, teleportation.
You want to know, after that episode, and then I was watching a few other things, and it kind of just clicked for me, like, what is the most well-known kind of like phenomenon or portal in the world that most people know of that they can't explain? The Bermuda Triangle. And I was like, oh, I had this thing, because it's like what's a triangle is a pyramid. And I had this, and they're like, it's so weird, ships have disappeared, this has disappeared, all these, I saw this little clip, but obviously I've heard of it, I know about it, but I had this aha moment of like the triangle being the pyramid,
Right.
And this, the Bermuda Triangle, it's like the most well-known, undiscovered portal of what happens, this vacuum of black hole, things just disappear, people disappear, boats disappear, planes disappear. I mean, it's pretty cool. I know.
Jade's mind disappears.
I'm just waking up to everybody else,
right.
Everyone else's realization.
Memo. Have you ever seen those old movies from the 20s where they pull the hook out and they're going to just drag the person off the stage? Not sure. Are we having this moment? I'm looking for the hook. It's coming around here. Yeah, no, that's really a great observation. I mean, this is just a classic example of consciousness.
Yeah.
Is when you have those aha moments, you're like, whoa, whoa, that makes so much sense to me.
It does.
And so, getting into it with the Jade Emperor, this everything as we understand it, we are the field is us. You are the field is you. Understanding the inner workings of that from a fractal pattern all the way down to a subatomic photon, a particle that has the same fractal patterns of the universe within it. So that means that the universe is inside you in every cell of your body, in every wave to matter to particle to realization of this flesh and blood. At any point, we could take a piece off, put it under a microscope, and it is whole in its nature. Understanding that from the holographic model realization, this is where profound things start taking place, right? So you get to this point where, hang on a second, everything is a whole. So from a Taoist level, we're talking about specifically Jade Emperor, who, one of my teachers I call on for all pure source information, that's realized instantly. He's been around for tens of thousands of years as a manifestation of the Tao, realized in all forms, his creation through a culmination of constellations, all realized in this physical form that is now transmuted into an ongoing transmutation from one physical form to another as an eternal immortal, never to be dissolved, always as whole. So in relation to energy, it is the same within the spirit. It cannot be created, cannot be destroyed. It is constant, as is the universe. And so you look at these shapes, geometric shapes, specifically a triangle, a pyramid, and these are they're formatted as a replication of a much bigger picture, which is a constellation, a star formation, but it's realized within the earth form. Take a second. Sifa, what did you just say? These particular geometric shapes that are formatted and can be realized as actual pyramids and or mountains, which are literally Tao-made pyramids that were never touched by human hands, and even any formation of a pyramid that we know of was never touched by human hands. These were created by something greater, higher level of frequency that could generate that type of shape. But these are basically formations of constellations, but on planet Earth. Let me repeat that one more time. So when you look at a mountain, especially around where we live, these formations are so clear. They are literally formed as pyramids everywhere. And so these are basically take a star formation that you would see in the universe and basically integrate it into the core of the earth. And this is what you have materialized. So it's almost like looking at an iceberg. An iceberg from a distance, you may only see this much out of the water, but in actuality, it's if you go underneath the water, it's like 50, 100 times bigger than what you see, this formation. So in turn, are these Tao formatted triangles, i.e. pyramids, and this is going on everywhere. And so each one has its own energy and signature, as does everything. Energy, frequency, vibration. And so, what does that have to do with the Jade Emperor? Very good question. So, part of the formation and the creation of the Jade Emperor as one of the entry points of the cosmos has to do with the constellations and the Earth, right? We briefly went over that a few podcasts ago. Moreover, you are the universe is you. So when we look at the Jade Emperor's palace, which is the lower back area, the kidney function, and the center source energy of that celestial energy that pipes up the Tai Chi pole, you have 3 formations of that are literally shaped as like sort of two pyramids put together, which would form a diamond. Right. And it just so happens there's an integration of that because the 3 major precious stones that are formatted within your physical body is the upper Dantian is a diamond, the middle Dantian is a ruby, lower Dantian is a blue emerald. Now, you have this integration of these diamond-shaped pyramids within the energetic architecture of the Jade Emperor's palace. And it has a complete correlation with the architecture of the formations of these constellations within the landscape. And so you can correlate that and find that source and then generate that energy tenfold just by being, as we were talking about, a and they're all over the place. They're everywhere. And
would you say that's why like most Taoists are very attracted or live particularly like near mountains, in mountains?
Yeah.
Like, you know, they're not really in cities. It's more in that rural kind of
some of the
earth
most
environment.
well-known Taoist monasteries are integrated into a mountain for a reason. This is a sacred, temple, i.e. pyramid, but within that portal, it's all bets are off, my friend. You know, you can feel the surge of energy just from me talking about this stuff, how it awakens the source energy within you.
Now, is it any mountain? Is it specific? Like if you just walked outside and was like, I have a mountain next to my house, I want to go and feel the energy there. Or is it, you know, particular areas, certain mountains,
There'll
certain
be
heights?
a higher frequency in certain places, parts of planet Earth. But generally speaking, there is a synchronizing moment between you and that element that will be realized. So the second that you call on the energetics of the Jade Emperor's palace and you realize these 3 celestial diamond pyramids, that activates a whole nother rippling effect within your lower Dantian, which in turn activates pure yin source energy. Now that yin source energy transmutes into many variables, but one, it's the gateway to the spirit world, and that realizes the yin eyes, which is your clear vision and your ability to see the spirit world within your third eye or with your eyes open. And this activation then leads to more profound feats of, superhuman, clear senses, from telekinesis to pyrokinesis to, sensory perceptions that are beyond your wildest imagination, all generated from this pure yin source energy. And the keeper of that yin source energy is highest purity outside of Jade Emperor. That's on a whole nother layer of the lower Dantian, with those 81 chambers.
I was going to say it's a lot. That's a lot to unpack there.
Well, it's a lot to unpack, but what the audience can realize is how powerful what I'm saying, and it instantly gives you a charge that is a validator. And then when you go, you can use just the fundamentals of what I'm saying, and the second you draw yourself to any formation that looks like a mountain, i.e. a pyramid, it will start to oscillate your lower, like celestial source energy within your sacrum, your lower Tai Chi pole, the lower Dantian area. Because now it's been realized, it's been activated. Just by hearing this, you have just exposed yourself to another high level of consciousness.
Now, next question. Do you have to be there physically for someone who, say, doesn't live near any mountains, or, maybe in like a part of America that's not accessible? Can you use a picture or imagery or video of a mountain to still access that energy?
Yes. And that's why the portal that we're releasing is so powerful, because we'll give you a how-to from point 1 to point 9 on how to realize that.
And you can do it anywhere.
Oh, absolutely. That's the power of it, right? And so that was to be understood from any practitioner, any priest, any cultivator with this knowledge could materialize this portal anywhere. But, when you get to the source energy of these, constellation formations within planet Earth, all bets are off. And so you're just activating that, oscillating that, and it's realized. And then, you start to feel it just as we're feeling it right now, through our feet, through our legs, through our lower back. That is that pure Jing energy that comes with it.
Isn't it kind of funny how astrology in itself is just like a group of stars, and then someone would decided to like connect them into shapes?
Yeah. Well, someone did.
Well,
the Jade Emperor did.
You know what I mean.
And, in that interconnection with the universe, as we know we are the universe, then that realizes your consciousness at a whole nother level. Mm-hmm. So that access point, the dream magic, the what someone would define as out-of-body experience, astral plane traveling, spirit projection as we know it as Taoist, Shen realization. Now we're on a whole nother level. And, the biggest gateway to yin eyes is that activation, because that synchronizes with the diamond pyramid formation within your upper dantian, and then you have a synchronization with the diamond pyramid formation within your middle dantian. All three of those realized. And you're like, hang on, Sifu, you said the middle dantian was a ruby and the lower dantian was an emerald. Absolutely. But you have these other gems that are also integrated into each dantian. Spoiler alert, it's never as it seems, especially from a Taoist. There's much deeper understanding. And you can feel the juice on that. Just me explaining that, it ripples and elevates that to a whole nother level.
So there is kind of this Hollywood idea of like, these monks climbing up to the top of the mountain and praying on the mountain, or being enlightened on these, mountains. When you think of it in the mountains,
what a coincidence!
That is, there is more than just the idea of that. There's
right.
a reality to that, and the power behind it.
Oh, absolutely. And we're starting to share that and reveal that with the world, as other indigenous practices have got their own formations within these sort of shapes, right? So the most important thing is understanding it's like certain practices, it's sort of like a double negative. You speak on specific practices that talk about their life purpose, and it's realized through absolving from something as common as simple as karma. And this sets forth the understanding that there's this polarity between positive and negative, good and bad, up and down, left and right, attraction, repulsion. That's in a duality. Understand this, know this to be true. Karma in of itself is a realm of man realization. And so once you step forth past that into the highest level of consciousness, which is being, and really there is no highest level. It's like once you step into being, you can keep leveling up. It's like 9 more, 20 more, 30, 50, 108. It doesn't matter how many dimensions of consciousness you will perceive, it will continue. And it all starts with your imagination.
That first access point.
Yeah. Oh, without question. And that frames everything. But understanding, it's just like this heavy density of energy that is realized right now, because we're talking about the power of the Jade Emperor's palace and those 3, diamond pyramids that are realized within each Dantian. And when activated, it's just like, this is crazy up in here. But this is part of understanding those formations of the pyramids that were within China and that are realized throughout the world, whether it's from the shape of a mountain or what someone would perceive as a man-made structure, which again, I would debate that is not man-made. It's constructed from another world, the high-tech material, but everything comes back from the same source, which is Tao, Buddha, universe, however you want to perceive it, God. And so you create your reality by this. It's like dismissing someone else's belief system is dismissing your own, because you are me, I am you. Doesn't get any easier than that.
No, and you will find all the thing that starts to resonate with you will just get stronger and stronger and stronger. And it's like the more it's kind of like you start seeing, you go, oh, I used to wear glasses. I couldn't see that well. I needed the help. And then you kind of, your glasses are blurry, and then you start taking them off and realize, oh, wow, I can see more, and then I can see more, and then I can see more, and then I can see more. And it is this opening once you start figuring out who you are, where you're going, what you gravitate to, what you know.
And that's where I feel like, anyone that frames their reality in this karma is very limited, because, this sort of leads more into certain types of belief systems that, have this life purpose. And knowing is all powerful. Knowing who you are, knowing where you're going is, the conscious realization of any Taoist, when you look at everything as a pile of diamonds covered in dirt, and you spend your life revealing another diamond, dusting off the dirt, revealing another diamond, realizing that all is perfection manifest. And so you're not having to reset yourself under the guise of a formatted, low vibrational personality self giving you a duality that makes you limited. That's not an operation of pure consciousness. The universe does not have a moral compass. The universe is not sitting there going, you're good, bad, you're up, down, left, right, in or out. It's dynamic, it's pulsating at all times. If you just follow the fractal patterns, you intercept, create new fractal patterns that are realized from your own interaction as the field. You are the perception, is consciousness. You sit at one end of the table, I sit at the other. We're seeing the same object in the middle of the table, just at a different angle. That is consciousness in of itself.
It just like I had that aha moment earlier
Uh-huh.
where I was, you know, you look at something all the time where you don't think about this something, and then all of a sudden you're like, ooh, that's, oh, I saw a different angle of that. That's cool.
Right. And, it's like we were going through that practice. What was the practice we did yesterday?
The gulping.
The gulping, right. And now we're going to go into another one today that will access. And that was, what were we doing? We were doing lower Dantian.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Now we're going to do a middle Dantian realization today as an exercise that will activate the interconnection between the upper, middle, and lower Dantian. And depending upon whether you're fluid or stagnant in your own energy flow, you will either be completely realized, highly conscious, or going to go into a deep sleep. And that will be determined big time.
Yeah, and I mean I think all of I even noticed just for us just doing this for myself personally that it's like the more we just kind of do these things, the more different things you feel, or the deeper you go, or you know, it might have taken you 5 minutes to fully relax. Now it only takes you 2.5. It might only start taking you 1. You start to really notice the energy shift of clearing and oh, maybe I wasn't feeling any energy in my legs, but now all of a sudden I really am.
Yeah. And this is what's really cultivating and manifesting. Most people are dealing with two things: high anxiety and lack of sleep. And they're generally the disturbances that affect your spleen and kidneys. Two major indicators. I mean, the spleen is the powerhouse and source of all things electric, thunder, lightning, interconnection of that particular source into the magnetism, creating the electromagnetic pure source that is your realization, that is the fluidity, that is the chi, that is you, 0 point energy. And so understanding that magnitude is critical. And that comes in the form of, regulating the stagnation. And that comes from regulating the elements, and that comes from regulating the energy centers. And by doing all the exercises that we share with you, you can quickly realize that, or applying, the way 126 experience, which is a visual audible experience, creating a kinesthetic charge that is the go time, the synchronizing, 0.1 hertz frequency, brain, heart, gut, realized.
Yeah. And we don't sell it as that very much. It's more like the way 126, it's a mastery. It's, you know, being able to control your state. But one of the biggest side effects that people have from it is they're like, I did the app and I got the best sleep I've ever had.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, we don't sell it as a sleep app, but it's like, that is one of the things that people constantly will be messaging us or telling us or saying, like, the first thing I noticed was, wow, I slept like a little baby. Like, for the first time in the longest time, they have this kind of side effect that's so powerful for them because they're starting to kind of shift these stagnations and blockages, you know, unknowingly. And it's like they instantly go like, oh, that, you know, that was the best sleep after I did it.
Yeah. And this is what happens when you synchronize.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all about tuning. And so we're tuning to those pyramids that are formatted in the earth around you, and very much, very symbolic as a pictory, oracle, bone reading, imagery, pictures of things that have generated over thousands of years into a language that we're more common with. This is why it's so powerful. Words, numbers, symbols, letters, all integrated into your DNA. That is what we're talking about, gene expression that comes from that visual audible experience, creating that kinesthetic charge.
Yeah. And I think just like how we talked about yesterday, how fear has a such an impact on like your gene expression and how your cells are functioning, what's happening, the when you release the fear, it's like so does things like coherence, emotional stability, happiness, selflessness. That also has such a strong impact on, like you said, releasing the dopamine, the oxytocin, the nitric oxide within your body naturally. And those kind of the other spectrum of that positive high frequency, just, you're creating the chemistry within your own body and your DNA just through those, feelings, thoughts, and emotions.
And so when you're framing this stuff, we're going to activate that middle Dantian, synchronizing the three diamond pyramids, the lower Dantian, middle Dantian, upper Dantian.
Yeah.
And that will put you into a deep state of relaxation, and moreover will put you into a state of calm. And of course it's sleepy time, and that's why you're already feeling so relaxed, because this is part of that signature. Because what happens with that, you create that lucid state, alpha, theta, delta, and then for a lot of people through this exercise we're about to do, it's going to drop you deep into epsilon, which is another creative state. Don't be twisted by the idea that it's not. It is. So that state is very clear, understanding that. So you will go from one to another. I put out a little short for a gamma brainwave frequency activation, and some people were feeling very sleepy, and one of the fellows acknowledged that I would have told them it depends on where you're at. If there's stagnation, it's going to drop you deep into that because it's necessary for you to expand, and that synchronizing will then return itself through the next time you do it, and you'll be heightened. This particular practice today is going to put you deep into the deep dreamlike state, and that comes from accessing that Jade Emperor's palace, and also the sacred infinite garden, and ultimately, Heaven's Gate, which is, the Ryu that we're talking about that's activated in the upper Dantian. So all these things collectively are going to get you into a deep sleep-like state, and this is going to activate theta, delta, epsilon. Theta, delta, epsilon. Oh, man, I gotta stop saying that because it's very, very relaxing.
Mm-hmm.
If you hadn't noticed, if you at home, even as you're witnessing the frequency, energy, vibration from what I'm saying, you're like, why are my eyes so heavy? Why do I feel like I want to close them? Trust me, the energy that's building up inside me right now is making me want to close my eyes, because you're already there. And this is part of how powerful this stuff is in that realization when you synchronize that. So, we're activating these ancient geometry that can be formed. Now, once you activate this, and we put in these codes that I'm going to put in inaudibly, you can then take yourself to any formation on planet Earth that you intuitively believe is formatted like a pyramid, and you will realize this. This is like, it will activate. It's like that's your portal right there. Now, when you use the portal, that we're going to put out, you can just like, you don't have to leave home. That's the whole point of the scripture. Let the man who's never left his village, let him know he's seen the world. Does anyone picking up what I'm putting down here? Understand you don't have to go anywhere. You are the magnet of your reality. Activating the sacred infinite garden, activating the sacred infinite flower, that is the magnet that will realize it all, bring it all to you. No exceptions. Oh, yeah. Wow. I don't know about you, but I could possibly...
Yeah, starting to feel it already.
Yeah, like pass out. Did you have anything you wanted to say?
I think we should kind of just go over a little bit too, that everyone is going to experience what's necessary for them.
Right.
And there is kind of no like right or wrong or in your head. It's whatever you're feeling is whatever is necessary.
Mm-hmm.
So, some people go like, am I doing it right? Am I in the right position? Am I breathing the right way? It's all tailored to
Right.
you and your own experience. And my experience will be different than yours, and your experience will be different than someone else's. But there is no wrong way to experience any of these exercises or any of these kind of breathing techniques and things that we're sharing with you.
Well, unless you do them in opposite of what I just tell you to do, then that's not the wrong way, but it's not the way that's going to evoke the prescribed response that will be realized.
Right.
So if I ask you to breathe a certain way and you breathe another way, then you're going to have a different effect that wouldn't be realized from breathing the way I ask you to breathe.
And as long as you kind of just follow along whatever you feel, it's based off of.
It's how it affects you on that neurological, physiological, and energetic level, that alchemical response. So if you're just as perception is everything, you see it a certain way, Jade sees it a certain way, I see it a certain way. It's wherever that the signature or stagnation, the synchronicity is necessary for your body to flow with the earth and the universe, then it will materialize that way.
And it's at that moment too. I've gone back and watched videos and, feeling it in the moment and then watching it back. Maybe I had a different day that day. I needed a different type of charge or a different type of feeling. So if you go back and watch them, which we recommend you do also, you'll experience something different. It's for you in that moment right here, right now.
Right. And with today's experience, we're going to give you an incantation that will draw on the energies of the Jade Emperor instantaneously. So you can hear it audibly. You can just rewind next time and come back to it. You don't have to speak it. If you want to speak it, you can. If you do speak it, it will realize also. If you don't speak it and you just watch it, it will realize it's already been imprinted. Okay? Do you have any other thoughts you wanted to share?
No, I think I'm ready.
Yeah, I think that was really good with that shape formation, understanding, and that correlation with your constitution, the Jade Emperor's palace, the inner workings of the lower Dantian, how these diamond pyramids activate within each Dantian, and then ultimately what that realization is. And then the power you get from the pure source yin energy. And that's why it's so, pure yin over yang. Yang is high gamma frequency, high gamma brainwave frequency. Frequency being the CCs, the hertz, the cycles, right? And so that's, high yang, high phosphorus white. Yin is dark, deep blue, epsilon. And then you feel it too, like I do right now. And that's all energy, baby. That's it. So without further ado, this is kind of an interesting one because you're going to sip and then blow, and it's going to be like the sip is going to be a second, the blow is going to be half a second. You're going to do this 9 times, and then on the 9th time it's going to be a long draw and a double draw on the exhale, and then with that there's a 9 count. Okay, so this is all going to be centered to the middle dantian, and what will happen is you're just going to go deeper and deeper into this lucid state, verging on or entering a dreamlike state, which will be materialized in you're going to fall asleep, pass out, go deep into epsilon, or you're just going to be lucid and in that pliable theta alpha state, potentially verging on gamma, but it's going to stay there because this is all yin energy.
Beautiful.
So the breath sequence is and then it's like a almost like you're spitting it out. So you take a and it's a little exhale. Does this make sense? So it's and so you're going to do that 9 times. Oh, geez. And that just all concentrates right here. And then the final part will be a long draw in, a long draw out. And then after you draw out, then it's a 9 count from 9 to 0. Okay? And this will percolate all 9 of these diamond pyramids in the 3 dantians. And this is like an entry sequence to activating that high yin energy, taking you into the dream world, activating the yin eyes, the yin energy, the height of yin. There's the birth of yin and then the height of yin. And that will be realized. And, you know, we're going to go into dream on, dream away. I mean, do you ever remember that band? I think it was TikTok, You Can't Stop. What's that band? I can't remember. It was from the 90s.
I have no idea what you're talking
Yeah, it's going to come to me. I used to love that band. It was like, it was a boy band. Didn't last too long, but like they had, you know that song, You're Gonna Sex Me Up?
Mm-hmm.
No, it'll come to me. I'm sure someone will come up with the answer on that one. I thought that was it was so like, it was perfectly in concert with like the 90s, Beverly Hills 90210, and any pop or grunge song that you could think of. I mean, they even had like one of my favorite like hardcore grunge band. I guess you'd call it grunge rock kind of bands was Bush. Even to this day, I don't know how many dozen of times I've seen Bush, but like they're just like they were on Beverly Hills 90210. Bush. It's like, I honestly want to grab Gavin and go, what were you thinking, bro? What were you thinking? Well, it made my 90s. I loved it. It was like, yeah, man. There's nothing more defining than the 90s being wrapped up in, Nirvana. You've got Nirvana. You've got Dylan and Brenda find out they're pregnant, or they don't. Like an epic moment of like Beverly Hills 90210, like the pinnacle, like I'm pregnant, no, I'm not, I'm pregnant, I'm not, I am pregnant, maybe I'm not. And then finally it was like, I can't handle that stress, we're breaking up. And everyone in the world is like, oh my goodness, Dylan and Brenda are breaking up, woo! And of course the final cherry on top of the very cake of the 90s. I do not recall. I did not have sexual relations with that woman. I can't even do whatever his name is. But these are the pinnacles of the 90s. Come on, how could you let that go? It's like, it's pop culture at its finest. But getting back to Bush in 90210, it's fun. There's just no question. I mean, what is more fun than Bush in 90210? But next time I say Bush live, I am going to ask Gavin that. It was like, and by the way, if you want to have an observation of someone who never ages, go and watch Gavin from Bush, the lead singer, the ex-husband of Gwen Stefani. Is it Stefani?
Mm-hmm.
Gwen Stefani. This dude is like, he's Benjamin Button. It's freaky to watch. You look at him and you're like, what are you doing, my friend?
Consciousness.
Are you taking notes from, a couple of aliens on potentially bathing in bodily functions?
You think I have a weird mindset?
Yeah, right. Well, I'm just well, it's like you look at this guy and you're like, wow. I mean, I've met him personally many times, and the guy gets younger and more vibrant and more energized. It's just profound to see. You look at him and you're like, wow. That's what I'm talking about. I love that. So getting back on track. Hey, listen, it wouldn't be an exciting time here at the Consciousness of the Way if we weren't
If you
able
didn't
to
dip into your loads and layers of your consciousness.
Yeah, I mean, man, the 90s. I didn't even do the Clinton impersonation well enough. It was terrible. Yeah.
Back to the transmission.
Yeah. I forgot. Yeah. Ice, baby. I mean, come on. Vanilla Ice, Suge Knight, Tupac, Tyson. I mean, damn. Even Tyson ruined one of my birthdays one year in Vegas. He just locked the whole place down. It was like crazy, man. I could not believe the magnitude of this man. It was on a second to none level. In any case, I regress. Getting back to the energy. If you're not able to just express yourself, what point are we making here in relation to the humanness, the experience, the heaven on earth that you're experiencing, because that's what you're doing, and the ability to be able to observe all things and experience all things is part of the experience as an eternal immortal having a human being experience. And so all the little intricacies and the accents and the signatures that come with these experiences that we have as a human being is the simulation and the stimulation of this physical body. And what better way to do that than to be the complete almanac of all things pop culture? You're welcome.
You might want to refresh anyone on what type of breathing we're supposed to do.
Oh, and the breathing. Well, here's the beautiful part. We can go off on a tangent and express ourselves in other manners, but the reality is that energy is present always. And just as I speak on it, you can feel the rippling effects, right? And so when we talk about this on a much deeper level, this already sinks in. And so as it sinks in, as you become aware, as you listen to my very voice, okay, we're right back to programming as usual. And yes, it's getting heavy. I think I might pass out from my own voice at this point. So the breathing is, and you're going to do that 9 times. On the last one, it's going to be, and then you're going to hold it for 9. And all that condensing of that energy is going to go right into the middle Dantian, and that's going to be realized into almost instantaneous sleepy bye. And that has a lot to do with this diamond pyramid formations in each Dantian. We've given you an overview of that, but we're just, that's pretty much how it works, okay? So when you guys are ready, you can take one sense, you can have it open or close your eyes, and you're going to follow my lead with the breathing. When you're ready, and last one. Hold it. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release. Oh my goodness. Now you can go deep, deep, deep into that state. To that beautiful theta, delta, epsilon. Let it sink you deep within that blissful state of creativity, of complete restoration, of magic and healing. Deep, 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 deep yin energy source at the height of yin. And as you know, just through your respiration, you feel that amber building, pulsating that energy throughout your physical body as everything gets heavier. All things on a cellular level, deeper and deeper into that delta epsilon state. Let that oscillate, let that create all things. All so deep. We'll turn that over like dough within the middle Dantian. Realizing this is a restoration, healing state of consciousness. Right here, right now. Really good. Really good. Because of your deep healing sensory perception, let it float you away as my voice becomes further and further from your hearing, from your consciousness, as you go deeper into a state of complete restoration. Stay with it, be with it, all knowing with it. On that note, I want to thank my divine, delectable co-host, High Priestess Jade. And I want to thank you beautiful beings for taking your time to share it with us today. And I am your humble servant and Sifu, Taoist Master San Quinn. Always remember, guys, let it play out within the beautiful synergy of your conscious and unconscious. You will be as out as far as you need to, and slowly be drawn back to the consciousness of the room at your own pace. Realize, let it be, allow it, experience it, know it. For it is you that is the universe, and the universe is you, right here, right now. And I will see you on the next one, guys.